Hello everybody, thank you for joining me again today for another video. I am Lee from thecraftyspark.co.uk and today we are going to do an Easter card. Now, I'm going to be using the Sweet Sentiment stamp set, which is a brilliant stamp set. If you haven't got it, I highly recommend you get it. When Stampin Up issue their catalogues, it's just a bit of information for you here. When they issue their catalogues, they do suites of products. Okay, so we've got the Cool Treats suite, we've got the So Succulent suite, Party Animal suite, and all the different suites are slightly different styles with slightly different stamps. When the suite set of stamps are issued, we generally have one per catalogue. The stamps in that set match every suite through the catalogue. So for example, this particular one, this is the Sweet Sentiment stamp set, and this one has this one here which goes with the Cool Treats set. We've got this one here which goes with Cupcakes and Carousels. We've got this one here which goes with the Man Lot, but I can't remember what it's called. Urban Underground, that's the one. But you get the idea, don't you? So if ever you're thinking, oh, I really want some sentiments, I don't know which one to get, and I don't particularly like the ones that go with that suite, get this stamp set because you can use it with all the different suites. It's really good. And you will always find them generally, yeah, always generally, that doesn't really tally up, does it? But they are generally towards the back of the catalogue. Okay, so you can see this is here, covers every single suite. So this is the spring summer catalogue. All right, just a little bit of information for you there. Right, so now the card that we're going to be doing, as I said, we're going to use the Sweet Sentiments, and we're also going to be using, as it's going to be a die cut card, we're going to use the Flourish Thinlits dies. Now I hope you can see those because I haven't got my set out and I want to stay in focus, and I'm trying to get as close as I can without going out of focus. There you go, that's not too bad, is it? Very cute little bits and pieces going on in there. So what I've done is I've already die cut a selection from that set of dies, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the cards. Now, you are going to need for this card a card base. This is the thick Whisper White and it measures 5 inches across by 7 inches down. I've also got another piece of Whisper White. Again, this is the thick cardstock, and this one, let me just double check, yep, measures 5.5 inches by 7.5 inches. Okay, the reason for that is, if I show you one that I've already done, or a card base rather that I've already done, can you see, I'm hoping you can see anyway, can you see that double embossed line at the edge? That's what we're going to be doing around the edge of the card. So I'm going to show you how to do it on a piece of Emerald Envy, and the reason I'm doing that is because when you're scoring things on Whisper White, it doesn't always show up very well. So I'm going to show you on the Emerald Envy card, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with your white one. Actually, no, I'm going to show you how to do it with the Emerald Envy one, and then I'm going to do it on my white one. And then you'll see why we've got a card base at the moment bigger than the actual card. Now, the easiest way to do this by far is using the Stampin' Up stamping trimmer. If you don't have one of these, don't panic. I'm going to put the score measurements, score lines up on the screen. So if you're using the stamping trimmer, follow me. If you're using a scoreboard, follow the measurements, which you'll now see at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so to get this double score line, what you do not do is cut it and score it. That doesn't work. You have to score it, then cut it. Okay, so using this as our example, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to line up the edge of my cardstock with the halfway mark on the right. So in effect, that's your minus 1/2 inch. There's your plus 1/2 inch, so that's kind of your minus 1/2 inch. It's sort of like your minus side, if you like. So I'm going to line it up there with that minus 1/2 inch, and then give it some really good foam scoring, okay, because I want a really good score line. Then I'm going to move it across again on the minus side to the 5/8 of an inch, and I'm going to do the same again. Give it some good scoring. So now I hope you can see we've got the 2 score lines. All right, now I'm going to try and zoom in a bit here. I don't know if this is going to work. You're going to have to forgive the camera if it starts to wobble. It's because of the stand it's on today. Doesn't look like I can get in further than that, but hopefully we can line up properly. Right, what I'm going to do is turn the card over because I want these raised lines that are on this side. Okay, that's what I want on the front of my card. And I'm going to line up that first score line just slightly to the left of the cutting groove. This is a bit tricky, isn't it? Can you see? Sort of there. So I'm only very marginally over, just a small amount. I don't want to go there because then I'll cut on the score line. I'm going just slightly to the left of the score line, all right? And with it just slightly to the left of the score line, I'm then going to cut. So if you see on the card now, you've got the double score line and you've got a very narrow margin just along that edge. See? But what it's done is it's given me a definite edge to my card, and it's also given me these perfect score lines. All right? Right, let me zoom back out. Trying to keep, whoop, I can't zoom out again. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I film on my phone, so it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Right, it'll stop wobbling in a minute. I hope I don't make anyone feel sick. There we go. Okay, so now you can see how it's done. I'm just going to do my card base, and I'll fast forward this bit as well because I'm sure you don't need to see me scoring lines. Right, so I'm using the 5.5 by 7.5, okay? And I'm going to line up first of all on that minus half, and then I'm going to move across 1/8 to minus 5/8. When I've done one side, I'm going to spin it around and then do the other side. Same as when I do the ends. I'm going to do one end, then I'm going to spin it around and do the other end. Okay? Let's get going. Right, so now I have my card base with, I hope you can see the lines going around it. See, go around the edge. Super duper. Right, let's start putting the card together then. Now, I'm going to, I say this a bit kind of, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? I want to do some blending. I want to put a bit of a pool party background to this, just like in the middle. I'm not very good at this though, all right? We can't all be brilliant at everything, and I'm definitely not brilliant at doing this. Now, I use a sponge dauber. You can use a sponge. There are various ways of doing this. You can even use a brush. Now, as I say, I'm not the best, so I'm just going to go round and round and round, trying to get it so that it's not all splodged in one area. There's some people that do this and they are absolutely fantastic at it. They get this perfectly blended colour. Me? Nah, definitely not one of my strong points, but I'm always willing to give it a go. So you just go round and round and round. I've kind of got a bit of a splodge going on in the middle there. I'm not too bothered about that because that's where the centre of my cross is going to be roughly, but I just want to have a little bit of colour shadow on the back behind the cross that I'm going to put on in just a minute. You didn't know I was going to do that, did you? Well, you did because you've probably seen the picture, but if you were watching this live you wouldn't know. jabbering away. There. Okay, yeah, I think that'll do. It looks a bit patchy, I know, but when everything else is on there, I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Now, what I've done is I have cut 2 of these in soft suede. I've cut 1 set of leaves in Pear Pizzazz and 1 set in Wild Wasabi. And then I've cut the smaller flower in So Saffron and Wisteria Wonder. All right. I've also going to get, I've got a piece of Pool Party cardstock, and I'm going to use the 1 1/4 inch punch. I just want to punch out a circle. Now then, let's get some glue. Now, the first thing I want to do is build my cross up a bit, but not on the card. So this is why I've got my circle. I'm going to have the center of my cross is going to be behind this circle. All right, because this way I can make a nice mess with the glue and you're not going to see it, so it doesn't matter. A lot of people are put off using die cuts like this because they are quite delicate and they're not the easiest of things to stick when it comes to sticking it onto a card. So if I can show you a nice easy way, I'm sure lots of people are going to comment saying, oh, you can do it like this and oh, you can do it like that, but I would just want to show you an easy way. All right, so I've taken the die cut, I've put it face down, stuck it on the back there. Now I'm going to put a bit more glue on. Again, making a nice pretty mess. Turn my die cut over and I'm going to line up that center circle with my center cross there. Let's just wipe some of that glue off. Now, if I stick this straight on my card, obviously it's going to stick because the glue is, funnily enough, sticky. But I'm not going to stick it on just yet anyway. First thing I want to do is shorten the ends because otherwise it's going to come off the card. Now, can you see how we are now? So I've just flipped it over. So what I'm going to do, if you look at the ends of these, you've got petal circle, but you could actually look at it that you've got 4 petals, and that's what I want to do. I want to cut off 1 set of petals on the end. I'm just going to snip it round. Oop, let's turn it around that way. The trick to doing this is just to getting your scissors at the right angle. As long as you're at the right angle, you'll get a good cut. And that's a little bit tatty, but I'll trim it up a bit later because you don't need to see me sitting there trimming bits of cardstock. I'm a bit wobbly as well today, so you have to excuse my hands shaking. Where have I gone? I've gone that way, haven't I? Whoop. That was a little bit too much there. Oh well, never mind. It's all right. It'll be okay. Let's just make that a little bit neater. Right, so that's my cross. And there's my 2 bits that I don't need. I suppose what I could have done is I could have just cut it in half in the middle and just moved it across. That would have been easier, I think. In fact, I'd suggest you do that because that will probably give you a nicer finish on the edge, unless you're really, really good at cutting and you've not got wobbly hands like me. Just cut it in half in that middle bit there and just move it across. Move the other side across, cut in the middle, cut that bit out. You know, however you want to do it. That's the way I should have done it really, but never mind, never mind. Right, now with my leaves, I'm going to cut a bit of that end off because I don't need so much on that. And what I don't want is all the same colour in one place because the leaves themselves are going to go on like this. Okay, so they're going to meet in the middle, but I think I'd rather have a bit of a mix of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this one just at the bottom, to snip off that one, Same on here, like that. And now I'm going to use, whoop, can pick it up, that bottom, that side, that bottom, that side, like that. And then I can put my other one, actually it will go underneath it in a minute, but it will be kind of like that. All right, so a little bit fiddly, but what you need to do is get some glue, put it on the back of that stalk, and then just stick it so that it just slightly overlaps, like that. All right, so I've kind of stuck the stalk to the back of the other stalk. All right, so that's one. And then this one, oops, getting glue everywhere here, never mind. There we are, that's better, isn't it? Stick on that one. Right, so now I've just got a little bit differential in the colour. Okay, now to put those in place, the easiest way is with a glue dot. Where are my glue dots? She says, searching around frantically. There we go, there's a glue dot. Just pop one off with your roll. Stick it in the middle. And then you can attach the end of your leaves to your glue dot, like that. You're not going to see it because the flowers are going to overlap, and where they overlap there, can you see? You can't actually see it. Now you could put the dark one behind the light one, you could put the dark one on top of the light one, you could put them miles apart, you could put them close together, whichever way you like really. In fact, do you know what? I wonder if a little gold circle in the middle of there. No, I don't want to overload it because you need to be able to see the cross as well, don't you? So let's just put some glue on top of that. So you can use glue with this card because you're not actually sticking the whole of the die cut down, which makes it nice and easy. I do like easy. So I'm just going to, if I just wipe that round a bit, there we go. And then I can stick them on. See how you can't see that glue? Oh, actually you can see it now. I've stuck my finger in it. Let me just wipe a little bit off with the pokey tool. There we go. Easy peasy. Right, and that can now go on there. Oops, let's get rid of that rubbish. So to stick it on, again, I don't want to stick the whole thing, which is another reason for our circle. So I'm just going to put some nice dollops of glue all on that circle, because that is going to be the kind of anchor point, if you like. Now I want to go quite high up and obviously in the middle, because I need to make sure I've got room for my sentiment. So about there I'm going to go, like that. Now can you see how it all curls up nicely? I like that. I mean, you could stick the cross down, I suppose, if you wanted to. Entirely up to you, really. Right, for your sentiment, I'm going to use, obviously it's an Easter card, so may peace be your gift this Easter. And we're going to do some embossing. So with my Versamark, if you're a bit sort of nervous about embossing, I would suggest you do this part before you actually stick the rest of your card together, because that way, if you get your embossing wrong or if you mess something up, you're not going to cause yourself all that work and have to start all over again, because that gets a little bit demoralizing, to say the least. There we go. Now, if you get extra embossing powder on your card, as I just have, don't be tempted to wipe it with your finger. Use a paintbrush, because the paintbrush, you can see where the bristles are going, whereas if it's your finger, it's very hard to see where it's going. Now, ideally, I suppose, you could use, or you should use, an embossing buddy, because that would help to stop this kind of thing happening. But being the lazy what's-it that I am, I don't bother. Sorry all of you guys who swear by your embossing buddies. There we go. Right, let's just emboss that. Put your fingers in your ears if you've got headphones on, or take your headphones out because it's going to get loud. Try not to hold it in one place for too long, otherwise you'll start to bend your card like I just did. Go round and round in circles. Much better. There you go. Right, here's a little trick for you. Can you see how my card is bent up? Yeah? The reason it's done that is because the card itself, that part of the card, is actually drier than the rest of the card. So a little trick to help that, hang on, let me just get some water out of my kettle. If you get a spritzer, I'm going to have to do this off camera, otherwise I'm going to cover myself with water. It's a very, very fine spray on this spritz. Let me see if I can show you, hang on. See? Very fine. So I'm just going to spritz just a couple of times onto the back of my card. Not a huge amount. But now it's curling, but it's curling because it's wet, which is exactly what I want it to do. Because what I don't want it to do is curl because it's dry. Just put a bit more on there. So, because if it curls because it's dry, I can't bend it back. If it curls because it's wet, then I can bend it back. So you can kind of mould it back into shape. There we are, it's getting better already. There, see? It's near enough exactly flat now. It's the way I started. So if you haven't got a spritz bottle, get a spritz bottle. Whether you use cold water or hot water, doesn't really make any difference. Just use a spritz bottle because they're fantastic. Right, now card base. Turn the card over. I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back. Now the bit where I did the embossing, even though I've wet the card, I'm actually going to put 2 dimensionals on that area and another one, or 2 actually, I think I'll go for, around it. Only because I just want to be absolutely certain that it's going to lay the way I want it to lay. Now, so people are probably watching this thinking, how many dimensionals are you putting on there? I like to use quite a few. I just think it makes for a better card. Everyone has their funny quirks. That is one of mine. Right, now I'm going to take off all but these top 2. Because I'm going to use those top 2 to line up my card. Come off. So I'm going to take all of these off. Is that one? Yeah, that one's still on there. Alright, so now I only have the top 2 on. Make sure you've got your card up the right way. And I'm going to use those top 2. You see how I can slide it around still? So I'm going to use those to line up the card. Hopefully that's straight because I can't see very well from my angle. No, it needs to go up a little bit, doesn't it? About there, I hope. I think. Yep, that'll do. So now I can push those down because those bits have got sticky on. Take off my back bit of that top one and that top one, and I'm done. There you go. So there is a pretty Easter card with a nice blended background, which I've got to say for me is actually a pretty good blended background. The only thing I would do differently, which is quite annoying actually, because I've just realised I've got some more of these cut already, because I'm making quite a few of these cards. Duh, that's what I should have done. The only thing I would do differently is cut them in half and line them up underneath. I will trim these ends off so it will look neater when you actually see it in the photo, but for now that's how we're going to go. So happy Easter everyone. I hope you enjoy the card today. Everything you need to make this card you will see underneath this video in the links. All the measurements for the card will be on my blog as well, along with some other photos. So if you want to have a look at either of those, or if you want to make the card yourself and you need any of these bits and pieces to make your card, by all means just click the links and it will take you straight to my shop and you'll be able to buy whatever you like. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.